is for my fellow people who have service animals. That's Sasha in the back. Hey, Sashi. You can hardly see her, but at least her vest has its reflective stuff on it. This is, I think, is important, especially for those of you who are in Puerto Rico, going through the quakes, and you have your service animals and you can't have them near your apartment because maybe your neighbor has a generator running when they shouldn't be. So you think about maybe taking your dog with you to a restaurant or a store. A lot of problems have been coming up when people bring them because there's the confusion of, oh, is that a pet or is that a service dog? I just did a small experiment and it worked out really well. And I think you should try to apply it as best you can. Step 1, make sure yours is actually a service animal, because if it's a pet, it'll never work. 2, call them first. If you're going to visit a place, look up their phone number. If it's available, call them right away and ask for management. Usually it will be an employee that answers, and clarify with them that you're not there to file a complaint, you're there to ask some basic questions. And when the management comes over, you have to wait for the manager or the supervisor, whoever they get you to first. Ask them about the service animal policies. They'll probably tell you the same thing you're expected to hear because of the ADA laws. If it's a service animal, an actual service animal, you shouldn't have any problem. What does this do? It doesn't save you from, whatever trouble you might have gotten at the welcoming thing. Is it really a service animal? Is it not? But it tells them that you're going to visit and you're asking in order to avoid complications. One of the things I've noticed when people bring their service animals is that they just show up. They just show up, no explanation. So a lot of employees are like, what is that? What do I do? I don't want to get in a lawsuit, but I don't want to get in trouble with my boss because I don't know if that vest is legit. So if you call first, you avoid that first problem because it tells them you're coming. It tells them you're bringing an animal. It tells them that you're trying to avoid problems. And it helps them prepare for when you arrive. When you arrive, confirm that you're the person that called on the phone. That's what I did. I went to Bahama Bucks here in Puerto Rico in Bayamon. I called them. I spoke to them in Spanish because that's the primary language of this island. Así que habla español. Dale un momentito y háblale. And then you let them know that, hey, I'm bringing my animal. I would like to know if there's going to be problems. Y esto y el otro. And they didn't give me any trouble. When I got there, I did not just walk in. I stood outside and I waited for them to see me. That way, the manager and the employees saw me outside waiting with my dog. When they gave me the okay, like, yeah, go ahead, come in, I went inside and confirmed that I was the one who called about the phone charging permissions. You don't have to buy anything right now because of the state of emergency we're going through. So I just confirmed that it was me. So I confirmed it was me. And I asked them where could I go with my dog because she's trained. She's not going to bother anyone. I just want to know where I can be. And they pointed me to a place where I could charge my phone and just stay there. Now, that's just the basic part. The second part is completely on you. If you're claiming that yours is a service animal, you have to prove it. And I don't mean you have to bring one of those cards saying, oh, this is a service animal. You don't need the badges. ADA protects you from that. What you need is to prove that you can control your animal. Your dog is probably right now anxious, if it's a dog. If it's a cat, that's a rare thing now. I doubt you're going to have an exotic animal pass as a service animal. Sorry. This is, at least not in Puerto Rico, it would never happen. So in any case, when you have your service animal with you, they're going to be anxious, just like you are, about the situation, about the tremors, about the quakes, whatever that's going on. If your animal acts anxious, try to take control of it. Calm it down, have it relax, have it sit, have it stay, have it next to you all the time. If you're at a table, have it underneath your table, near your feet, all the time. If it can stay still as long as possible, great. If your animal gets so anxious that you cannot control the animal anymore, it's too anxious to stay put, it wants to go outside, people make it nervous, that's your cue to leave the establishment. because no amount of rights that you may have will matter if your dog is a disturbance. And that's where the problem lies between whether it's real or not. If your animal becomes anxious and doesn't feel comfortable staying in the establishment anymore, take it into account and take it outside. Help it relax, help it calm down, and if it comes to a point where it's okay, that it can go back inside, then bring it back inside and see how it behaves. If it does not improve, leave the establishment. Because when you leave, after noticing that your animal is a little too anxious to stay, it tells them that you didn't bring a pet and you acknowledge that your animal is anxious. And the next time you come with your animal, it'll be easier. You'll be able to stay longer. But I suggest you still call first. Kudos to Bahama Bucks in Bahama. I had a good experience. I didn't have any trouble. Peace.